Hey everyone, Ryan Mitchell here with The Tiny Life. One of the things I like to do when I start the new year is to look back and think about some of the purchases that I've made over the last year. And I find this is a good natural stopping point just to kind of understand my relationship with buying things as a consumer. There's certain things that you just need to have in order to do your daily life. And as a minimalist, not all, buying things isn't bad. It's buying things without intention that I think is the problem. It's where people buy things needlessly. They try to fill, holes in their lives. They spend way too much money. They go into debt, all those things. So if we're intentional with our purchases, then I think that we can probably find, a happier life. We can be more oriented to our goals and just have a more positive relationship with how we buy and kind of operate in the world. So I do this process with Amazon, and I've shared it with a couple people and they found it interesting, so I thought I'd share it with you. But this is how I go through and kind of evaluate my Amazon purchases. And it's pretty simple, pretty quick as well. It took me about 20 minutes to do all this. So if you don't know, you can go to Amazon, log into your account, and go to amazon.com/gp/b2b/reports. And then from there, you're going to click the year, last year, and then request report. And then it'll take a little bit to process, but then you can download it. Now, it's going to look like this kind of when it comes up. So a lot of this stuff you can just get rid of, like deleting the columns. So you just do Control minus to get rid of it real quick in Excel. And then when I dress it up, basically clean it up, kind of tweak some of these headings and do a little formatting, this is what it looks like. So I'm going to move this over here. And so what I basically do is just look at the things that I bought, how much they cost. And then one of the questions I like to ask myself is, hey, I bought this, let's say, January 2nd. Do I still use this item? Right? And I think that's a good indicator of whether it was a good purchase for you or not. Is it's fine to spend money if you're using the item, if you find value out of it, if it's adding value to your life. So I think a good indicator is hey, do I still use this or not? And you'll find things that you still use every day, every week, which I think is a good indicator. And you'll find things that hey, I bought that item. I thought it would do whatever, but it didn't really meet that need. And so I don't use it anymore. Maybe I gave it away. Maybe it's sitting in a closet. Who knows? But that's a good way for you to kind of measure these things. I also like to look at hey, which of these purchases do I actually regret buying? There's going to be some things that you thought were going to be right, but ended up not being. In some cases, you can return them. Sometimes not. But so I like to go through and say do I regret or not? And then for me, I purchase things for my business, for personal, as gifts. So I like to categorize things like that. And then I have certain types of purchases that I kind of do. So I've added these columns here. Do I still use them? Was this business, personal, or a gift? Do I regret buying the item? The type or category of the item? And I didn't do this for all of them. It's just kind of the big ones. And then I added favorites. Out of all these items, which are my favorites? These are the things that I just really like, I find value in, and I would just suggest to others. So with all that, you could stop here, and I think this is just probably the still in use category. This only takes a few minutes, and it'll give you a good indicator and allow you to reflect on some of this. Now, being a data nerd, I did a little bit more. So over here, I have some pivot tables. So this is a summary of everything that I bought by the month, the number of regrets, and then the total spent. So in total, I purchased 246 individual items. I regretted 15 of those, and I spent $7,700, let's say. Now, keep in mind, I have some business expenses baked into here, actually a couple thousand of business expenses. And then I also, this year, built out a home office, which was the first time I ever had a home office. And then I also had my shed, a tree fell on it, and I had to replace a bunch of tools. So there's a little bit higher than average spending, I would say, for me this year. So these ones here, I looked at personal. This is for business, and then we'll get into this last section here. But, this is just a summary of the items for personal. So you can see, almost 74 were for business, 156. I think that math works right. Let's see. Yeah, pretty close to it. And then you have gifts. So yeah, these two plus that equals 246. So 156 for personal items. You can see I spent $4,000. The big categories for me, like, I had to replace a bunch of tools. So $1,500 of that was replacing some tools throughout the year because I had that damage. And then books. So I think books, I love reading. I know a lot of people who watch these videos and read my blog are big readers. So these are all basically business and self-help books. And then I have also on another platform, I listen to all my audio books, and those are my fiction books. So I have 27 here. I think I read about 30 books read on Audible over there as fiction. So 57 for the year. That's pretty good. I'm happy with that. And then for business stuff, I had some big purchases for the business. Specifically in September, I did a big storage array thing for the company, and so that was a pretty big spend. And then just setting up my new office, that I had to buy a lot of things for that, like the desk and the monitors and the stands and all that kind of stuff, cabling, you name it. So with these being pivot tables, you can quickly, just kind of get a nice little view summary of it by month and by category here. And then I think what's interesting is I looked at also what were my favorite items that I bought last year, and then what things did I regret. So I'll quickly jump into some of my favorites. Journal 29. This book is basically like a puzzle book, and it's challenging. But we take this book with us to a coffee shop locally here. Basically, we sit down, we get some coffee, we have some conversations, and we kind of, me and my girlfriend are going on a date to this, and we'll bring this book and we'll try to do one or two of the puzzles. And we've had a blast with it. And for $15, we've definitely got our money's worth out of that in entertainment. We've probably taken it on 6 or 7 dates with us at this point. So it's been great. Consumables, there's like, I use these book darts. They're little clips that mark your books. I love these things. I've probably bought like 7 packs of them. I just like make notes as I'm reading. For business stuff, I built out a storage solution for all the files that we have. So this, RAID box that I got was good. Tools, I had to buy some new tools, so I bought a new drill, and I also bought a track saw this year, which I don't know why I've waited so long. I love this track saw. It makes cuts on long pieces of sheet good really accurate and really simple. Some stuff for the house that I really enjoyed, and then a few little things for the car. Now, the things that I regret. Let's see here. So these little round, I was trying to make sous vide bites in my sous vide And I needed like a little container for it. I bought these. They ended up not working. And by the time that I figured out that they weren't working, it was past the return date. So that's too bad. Let's see here. I had this for the business. It's like a little tripod thing. I thought it would be better than it was. I still have it. I just not super in love with it. So yeah. Let's see. This book, The Comfort Crisis, sounded really good. I listened to a talk by the author and I got into it and it just wasn't super interesting to me, unfortunately. So, and then these Awera, they were screwdrivers. I ended up getting them and they worked well, but the handle just doesn't fit my hand right. So that was a regret for me. Anyway, all this to say is that this is a simple way for you to think about and reflect on the things that you've purchased in the last year. And it's pretty simple. This form or this report generates very quickly in a matter of seconds for you on Amazon if you do purchase from Amazon. And I think it's a great way for you to think about and set goals and priorities and think about your budget and consumption, over this coming year. So I hope that was helpful. I've shared that little trick with some people and they found it interesting. I hope you did too. Let me know, if you do your report, let me know what some of your biggest wins and biggest regrets were in the comments. And I appreciate it. If you haven't already, check us out at tinylife.com. Thanks.